Okay, video check, audio check, microphone check. Alright, so credit goes to Maximus Boomus for the footage that I'll be reviewing. And so, let's just go ahead and get started. So, that's the first mistake, which is relying on the hipfire of a shotgun. No matter what setup that you have a shotgun in, the hipfire is going to be spotty at best. It's just something that I can never recommend people doing. And, however, Boomus doesn't do this a whole lot. He switches to the H-23 later, and so that's what we'll be moving into. So next marker is at 305. So notice here that he has his laser on and he's pointing it towards that bridge at D. There's a problem with that in that people can see your laser from a pretty good distance away, even the red one. And so if you're pointing your laser at that bridge, even from your hip, people are going to be able to see you. And that's a big problem with lasers. People forget to turn those lasers off. You can turn it off with the T key. Make sure you turn it off whenever you're trying to shoot from a specific spot that you don't want to be seen from, or when you're just traveling, because people can see it, and they will see it, and they will start shooting at you. However, Maximus Boomus did turn off the laser sight later when he was shooting from a good position, so I don't think that he needs to be reminded of that. Alright, next marker is at 345, if I can get to it. Okay.
Remember, you can shoot through the blue fencing.
Now, Maximus was shooting at a group of people there. Unfortunately, one of the targets jumped to the right, and he decided to jump after that target when he should have kept on the left, shooting the guy he was originally shooting. That's the reason that he died here. You should not switch targets unless you absolutely know that you're not going to get the kill on them. Just stick with one target, make sure it's down before you switch to another one. Okay, next timestamp is 4:43. Or around that.
Rifle bullets, does it?
Alright, there's another big mistake, which is Boomus was sitting too close to the edge of that cover, meaning that he could still be hit. He was lucky that he was sitting on a med box so he wouldn't die immediately, but then he started going prone and slowly backing away. That's not what you want to do when you're under fire. You want to either sprint out of the way, sprint behind another cover, or simply jump off the bridge near you as quickly as possible. You want to move quickly, not slowly, especially when you're being fired at. Now, he might not have had a choice given that there were friendlies to his right and behind him, so I can forgive him for that. It's just something for future reference. I believe my next timestamp is at 5:55. I'll put it back here.
Brass is in behind us, just cherry picking.
Alright, right there he did eventually kill his target, but he wasn't smoothly keeping track of the target. He kept his crosshair in one spot, hoping that the target wouldn't move very much, and then jerked over to another spot, trying to compensate. Now, shooting a moving target is all about smooth movements, small increments. Now, I don't know what Maximus Boomus' sensitivity is, but if it's low enough, he should have been able to track that target without too much of a problem. And that's a problem that Boomus seems to have in general, is keeping track of moving targets while aiming. Alright, we'll move to a questionable death that I don't have a good explanation for. I can try. It's right after this. See, he was shooting his target, and it looked like he was on target for pretty much all of his shots. However, the H-23 has a weird visual recoil problem, in that your cursor, your crosshair, floats a bit after a burst, and so unfortunately the visual recoil probably threw him off of where his center was, and that's why he missed so many shots. However, I don't know for sure. Alright, next time marker is at 8:40 or around there.
MG overlooking Delta.
Remember to spot before you fire.
Alright. Now, he's already made a big mistake, which is he's sitting at the edge of a bridge. He has an elevated position, but he's standing right at the edge of the bridge, which means he is fully skylined, and anyone who's even looking up that way can see his entire body, and they'll shoot him easily. If you're going to do something like this, you should always be in a crouched position to minimize your profile, or back away from the edge and start aiming until you just pass over the edge of the bridge like he's sitting on. That way you minimize your profile to the enemy so that they can't return fire as easily. Okay, moving ahead to 11:35, if I can get to it.
Okay, I put
Alright,
gas spawn
you
taken
go
out.
upstairs. Alright, what happened there is he did switch targets correctly, but he hammered his trigger too much trying to get the other guy. Most assault rifles can't take more than about 5-6 shots before they lose complete accuracy. So if you hold your trigger down for too long, even if you're aiming right, you just won't be able to hit your target. You have to let some of that recoil go down. You have to let some of that spread go back down before you can start shooting again. And that was a tough situation, even for me. That would have been tough, given that weapon. And in the interest of keeping this short, I'll switch over to 19 minutes and 5 seconds, somewhere around that. Okay.
Let the Smurfs worry about the kills and swarming. We're gonna get the flags.
Now, what Max was doing there is he has a PDW, which has low base accuracy to begin with, and he was shooting down a long corridor. Those two factors don't really mix together. He was doing the correct thing by tap firing. However, the weapon just doesn't have enough base accuracy for that to be effective in the first place. And he also had a suppressor, making matters worse. It's just a little problem with PDW etiquette and carbine etiquette that you should not take shots, especially with a low-powered optic, at ranges that are just outside the weapon's capabilities. For a PDW, anything past about 60 meters is probably way too far out. For a carbine, anything past 100 meters is too far out, unless you have a heavy barrel. But not many carbines can accept a heavy barrel and still be controllable. So, I had some other notes, but it would probably make the video too long if I did that. So, I'm going to conclude this review here.